When you first boot up a new Smash game, there are probably a few characters you're drawn to first. There's Mario, you know him. Maybe you pick Link, he's always there. Sometimes you pick Fox, because you're a furry.
Shout out to all the furries out there!
But there's one character that most players just don't want to touch. The helium-voiced, narcoleptic pink ball of destruction, Jigglypuff. In case you've been living under a rock or in a coma for the past 2 decades, Jigglypuff is the balloon Pokemon known for her singing voice that puts enemies to sleep. Fun fact though, if you don't fall asleep, Jigglypuff will keep singing until it can no longer breathe and dies? That seems kinda dark. Isn't Pokemon for kids?
Excuse me, the fuck did you just say?
Puff was created in 1996 for the first Pokemon games, then appeared in Super Smash Bros. In 1999, and hasn't missed an appearance since. During that time, she's only seen the pinnacle of top tier once, and the fallout from that is threatening to tear the Melee scene apart. Puff was something of a joke character in Smash 64. While she shared a similar kit and nearly identical buttons with Kirby, one of the game's top tiers, it was her special moves that drew ridicule. Sing leaves her vulnerable for an extended time, but forces near enough enemies to fall asleep, and Rest puts her to sleep for 3 seconds. Sounds pretty useless, right? Well, over time, dedicated Puff players learned that if you made contact with your opponent as you rest, it has a surprisingly devastating effect.
There it is.
Bam. And that's it.
And I remember I used it for the first time, and it's just this useless fucking move. Does 0%, you're just stuck there. I'm like, she's the worst character in the game. An hour later, I was walking down the hall to the bathroom. I turned to the right, my brother's room. He happened to be playing Smash 64, and right as I looked, he landed a rest with Puff in that game. And I looked at it, and I was like, whoa. I'm like, how'd you do that? He's like, yeah, she just has it down B. That changed everything.
As it turned out, Jigglypuff wasn't actually the worst character in the game. Being a poor man's clone of Kirby and having the explosive rest was enough to lift Puff from the tier-list basement of Smash 64 to its ground floor. And by the time Melee rolled around, people still weren't hot on Puff. The first tier lists had her at 10th, then 9th, and then 11th. In 2004, she miraculously jumped all the way up to number 2. It's just too bad the list was released on April Fools. Basically, all the way up to Brawl's release in 2008, Jigglypuff, at best, was a mid-tier character that no one gave the time of day. There were some players who tried to make her work, like eventual Smash god Mango, but in time, he abandoned the Jiggly ship, mainly because of the community's negative response to her.
Everybody watching, I friggin' hate Jigglypuff. I think she's the worst character. Why can she press down B and kill you? Doesn't make any sense. Usually everybody wants the upset. Nobody wants FTK to win. We're all tired of seeing it. But right now, nothing would make me happier.
But as the years went on, one player found a way to roll with the punches and make Jigglypuff an actually viable character. As of right now, Hungrybox is the best Melee player in the world. And he got there by proving that Jigglypuff wasn't just a legitimate character, but one of Melee's best. Thanks to Melee's unique mechanics, Puff is able to be played much faster than in other Smash games. That said, despite being significantly quicker than her previous incarnation, she's still considered slow by Melee standards. The way to deal with that obvious disadvantage turned out to be slowing the game down to the point where Puff's speed wasn't as much of a liability. That means running away, throwing out her powerful back air over and over, and being patient while capitalizing on your opponent's mistakes.
Yeah! God, what fucking fuck!
This safe playstyle is the complete opposite of Melee's chaotic combat. And over the years, Puff players like Hungrybox have been given a lot of shit for playing this way.
If your argument is, oh, but there's not that many Puff players. Oh, but if Puff was broken, then everyone would play her. Again, it would kill the game. People don't play Jigglypuff because most people don't play Melee to play a floaty, slow character that requires no execution. If you think that is a valid argument, you are an absolute fucking moron and you should not be allowed basic human rights. No, that's too harsh. Right, editor, don't include that one.
And yet, HBox has sharpened this style to the point where he can impose his will against faster characters, forcing them to play his slow, methodical game. Back when the last Melee tier list was made in 2015, it had Jigglypuff at 5th. But since then, with the help of Hungrybox's incredible successes, there is now an argument that not only is Puff top tier, she might be the best character in the game. And not everyone is happy about that.
I hate Jigglypuff too. Well, then you can relate to me.
Yes.
She has been a torture for me for like the past
She has been
17
my
years.
kryptonite for a decade.
Sure, she's cute, but being on the receiving end of her wall of back airs or getting rested on isn't exactly enjoyable.
Oh my god! Oh,
do it!
Go for it!
Oh, man!
I'm tired of fighting Puff. I have to fight him like at every tournament that I go to, and it's exhausting and unfun. I just don't want to do it. I don't want to do it right now.
It's even kicked off a community conversation about whether or not Puff should be banned. But even those against banning her have gone as far as saying that Puff is so boring that she could be harmful to the future of the competitive scene.
But what if me and Plup or Mutes King start picking Puff and we actually beat Hungrybox? What would happen? If I do that, then every other player is gonna do that. Some people will say, you should do it, you should make every top 8 a Puff Ditto so that then we can ban Puff. But that would be too late. By that point the game would already be dead and I would have wasted time learning Puff and playing Puff Dittos, literally torturing myself to eventually just play a character that gets banned.
And if the best character in the game is boring to watch and play, where does that leave Melee? Even as recently as Genesis 6, a portion of the audience went as far as jeering Hungrybox during Melee Top 8. And while his relationship with the community is complex, a lot of the negative treatment he's received over the years comes down to Puff and how he approaches the game.
Right.
The animation
There it is. Yeah, GG. GG, that is a well-played timeout from Hungrybox.
Right. The loser. I don't know if you can hear this in my headset, but like, listen to the crowd.
Yo, the crowd is not happy. Hungrybox says, what are you gonna do?
But it's reactions like these that even HBox's greatest rivals feel are unacceptable.
I'm basically trying to say Hungrybox deserves more credit, and people discredit him because he's been winning for so long. I don't know, and I don't think it's Puff. I don't think Puff is broken.
Unfortunately, respect takes a backseat to spectacle for some Melee fans out there. They want to see the iconic high-risk gameplay that drew them to the scene in the first place. They don't care to see what one player has brought to the table and turned into the most effective way of playing the game.
I wanted to quit a lot of times, especially when I was like in that weird transition phase where I was trying to figure out who I am. Between the ages of like 18 and 21, I was just like, man, so many people hate me. Why am I doing this if people hate me? I'm not getting any satisfaction from this. I'm not this kind of like stone wall that can take anything. I'm human. You know, I read all that stuff. It sucks to read sometimes.
And although Jigglypuff exists in other Smash games, she's not nearly the problem she poses in her GameCube iteration. And with Puff's most recent appearance in Smash Ultimate, it remains to be seen whether she will reach her Melee heights ever again. On one hand, she has a nicer variety of combos into rest, and the overall pace of the game means she actually gets to press buttons now. But on the other, she's still pretty goddamn slow. So, mid-tier again?
No! My lead! My fucking lead! No! I worked so hard, dude!
The problem is that people don't want Jigglypuff to be good. A world where she's top tier is a world where you can't throw caution to the wind. It's a world of slow, methodical play, short combos, and long games. A world that the Smash community refuses to accept as their own. But whether you like it or not, it's still a viable way to play the game. Puff players like Hungrybox carved out a unique approach to effectively counter the meta. And even though it actually worked, people just can't seem to stop complaining about it.
No matter what you do, no matter how good you get at something, no matter how humble you are when you get something, there will always be people who hate you for what you do.
You know, for a scene that prides itself on the principle of no Johns, it's kinda sad to see Jigglypuff become the lone exception to the rule.
No Johns?
It means no excuses. You know, like when you called in sick for the shoot yesterday, that's a classic John move.
But my name is Matt.
I'm not saying your name is John, never mind. Being a poor man's clone of Kirby and having the explosive rest was enough to lift Puff from the tier list basement of Smash 64. Fuck, I'm running out of breath.
Take a drink, dude.
Yeah, good idea. I'm getting all chalky in here.
Drink break, boys.
You just sounded like a New York grandmother that has smoked a pack a day.
Sounds like a Boston.
I'm doing like
Pocket cat in the yard. The pocket cat in the yard, Miles.
Matt, your North American accents are my favorite thing in the world.